Guys, welcome to Prince Sean Internet TV. Today we'll be focusing more on communication and random ideas in order to try and put life together in a harmonious way. Starting with the concept of avoiding being a target of negativity. So, make sure you give people space and privacy and don't try to help or control them unless it's by helping, giving them food or shelter. Let them decide for themselves um, what what they're going to do, with their religion in order to structure their life in a healthy and balanced way. And I think waiting for people to ask, because the ones who ask are the ones who are ready. And that's something I'd like to stress. Like, you know, people I don't think just randomly offer information except for special instances like on YouTube. People like myself just share my thoughts. But basically, you know, you can think that there are many solutions you can offer a person, but ultimately you have to delve into your own personal beliefs and see what your number one foundational religious ritual is. Mine, for instance, is light work. So if you're going to do light work, or if whatever it is that you do, that is like more, and perhaps being a vegetarian, those are more effective than, say, other advice you can give, like telling a person to journal or just try and smile more. Um, you know, look at what's the most important things, the things we can control in our lives, and and you know, not trying to control another person, because that makes me a target. Another thought: what is my real title? My job title. Like me, I consider myself like a talk show personality, and I think I'm using the most of my potential doing this. Sharing my knowledge, because I think my mind is suitable for this type of activity. And then I can exercise along with it. Others might argue that I should, be a construction worker and use my physical strength there, in that realm. But is that how I would best help society? That's my question. So, you have to ask what your real title is. You may think that you're, um, doing work for somebody, but you may be being like their therapist, just listening to them talk. So, even though you may have outer descriptions and a reputation outside of, certain things, you have to know what your own character and your own personal, work interest is for your own realm. Regardless of if you're recognized or compensated for it, you have to, it's important to know what type of work you like to do in the work that you do. And make sure that it's in some way related to interacting and connecting with the rest of society, as opposed to just doing something like, you know, journaling on your own and self-improvement work. Make sure it's related to, helping others by your own standards. We all have our own truth, and so it's a question of whether people are being honest for themselves. And that's why I applaud people such as, maybe even people like Christians. I may disagree with their belief system, but or like Hare Krishnas, but I applaud them for engaging in what they believe and being honest people. Now, what else? Remember, some people may not have a good memory or interpretation of the past, and you may think that they're being rude or mean or crazy or mentally ill, but may be that they can't, relate and put the puzzle together. In order to plan someone or something out of one's life, there has to be a schedule that we follow that makes us feel like we've got to do, something else. That's how we create our will. And let us demand of ourselves that we'll make sure that future generations don't have to go through avoidable pain, like we've gone through with interactions with people, etc. Uh, you know, let's build information. Let's always share information. Now, consider the mistakes the native populations, such as the Indians and Hawaiian cultures, have made. Trying to be a good host and be friendly, but they thought that the people were somehow holy and didn't think that they could be a threat. So first, we should familiarize ourselves with people before letting them into our home, because once they're in our home, we're inclined to, be a good host to them. So let's not have to worry about who's in our home. You know what I'm saying? And it can be said that the Queen Liliuokalani was righteous. She was not racist. She, but the people who, the American culture that attacked her at the time was. And bottom line, to a degree. I mean, this is all, it's kind of generalizations, but the point is that, you know, there's a certain righteousness that was involved in um, the the Hawaiian culture, which included the desire for a monarchy. But I think, the modern, to fast forward to a modern times, current events, that most would prefer a democracy as opposed to a monarchy. So I encourage you, if you've been thinking like, oh, I don't like America, well, think about the good things in America and what really represents, what that flag really represents. Of course, it doesn't represent the selfish activities that, like funding, like all the corruption, the CIA and whatever. I mean, it's all generalizations. I realize that, but the point is, what is America? And I think America represents freedom and democracy and equality. And I insist on doing what I can to perpetuate those values. Uh, you know. Now, consider this thought: a brother would not desire to be intimate with someone he considered a sister, or with, for example, his brother's spouse. Therefore, I think many people really like me because I treat them with respect, like family, and I don't try to take their mate. So it really is like in my own perspective. And something else to think about. Sometimes I feel like upset when people call me a brother because I consider that a sacred term. But I have to keep in mind, regardless of what people do, I have my beliefs, and I can't control what they do, but I can control, I know my own beliefs, and so I won't call them brother, although they might call me brother. All right. So another thought, how can we trust the some of the elders in our community? We can if they have happy relationships with the spouse, but you know, so a lot of them tried to lead us into Christian thought, which is a contradiction, and it's not based upon sexuality; it's based upon fear. And so let's connect as a people, treating each other, trying to treat each other like family, as opposed to um, like when I say family, I'm referring to brothers and sisters, like where there's not like the father or grandfather has more authority over the younger generation, but that we're all financially kind of independent and equal and can treat each other, you know, with decency and not think that we own each other, quote unquote. Um, Another thought, the LGBT community, I respect your guys' orientation and your um, some of your lifestyle. But one thing I have a hard time appreciating is how you seem to be, a lot of you, except for the people that are in good health, seem to, it seems to be a stereotype of being weak and kind of sassy and not, I mean, sassy is fine, that's personality, but I'm talking like weak, like unhealthy, because you don't exercise, and I'm wondering if um, you, at least if there's two gay men in a relationship, at least one of them be tough and strong, and the other one be feminine. I don't know what the dynamics are per se of that, but that's the essence of what I'm suggesting. I respect people's different orientation. I think it's natural, but however, I'd like to see some some more strength there, power. Aloha. I will see you next time. Thanks for being here.